at me. You assume I am easily definable. You put me in a box. You want me to be your designable, but there's luminescence to me. Hello everyone, this is Alexis. If you're new to my channel, then hello, my name's Alexis and I do music, commentary, makeup, storylines, just general YouTuber stuff like that. And if you like this video, please like, subscribe, comment below. And if you're not new to my channel, hello, this is the new video today. So, when I was younger, a lot of my friends were into Harry Potter, but I wasn't, and when people would find out that I wasn't a Harry Potter fan, they'd be like, oh wow, are you mad? You've never even read the books? You've never watched the films? Where are you? Who are you? What are you? But now, I'm glad I was not into Harry Potter, and I never gave JK Rowling one penny of my money. Sorry, my tripod fell over, so I had to reposition it, so if I've changed positions, that's why. Anyway, so JK Rowling. Yes, so a few years ago I started hearing some rather, like, not good things about JK Rowling. Firstly, I saw this video by a YouTuber called The Princess and the Scrivener. I'm gonna link the video in the description. And she talked about how her new book, which was called something like The History of Magic in North America, was sort of making outdated and harmful stereotypes about Native Americans and their culture, including implying that sort of all Native Americans were the same. Like, an actual quote from the book I can remember quoted in that video was the Native American community, and like, Native Americans are not just the Native American community, they're all different tribes and stuff. And also, she was also guilty of cultural appropriation in that book, because she was kind of like using elements of cultures of certain indigenous tribes from the United States and using them to sort of like seem like magic when they're actually very kind of like dearly held and sacred beliefs by those tribes. And she also seemed to perpetuate very imperialist and colonial sentiments about Native Americans kind of being closer to nature and more kind of like sort of free and unspoilt and pristine than the evil, rascally Europeans that came and destroyed them, which people may assume is good representation of Native Americans, but it's actually considered incredibly reductionist, and understandably so. Quite a lot of people were very upset. And another thing I heard out actually before then, but I sort of like didn't really sort of like register how bad it was at first, but now I do, was the fact, I'm pretty sure it was in like 2013, she just suddenly out of nowhere decided Dumbledore was gay. Like, at first I was like, oh, Dumbledore's gay, okay. But then I sort of started hearing criticism of sort of like there was no kind of evidence to show that throughout the books and things like that, and there was no sort of like actual kind of like depictions of Dumbledore being gay. He was just said to be gay suddenly, and people were quite upset by that too. And also in one of the films that apparently she had something to do with, one of the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, she suddenly decided that Nagini, who was the evil snake that belonged to Lord Voldemort, was actually an Asian woman and had sort of like been turned into a snake or something, and people didn't like how they were sort of like using the sort of sad woman of colour backstory in order to sort of further Nagini's plot, and of course in the end, spoiler alert, she gets killed. And one of the main things that I've been hearing about JK Rowling recently is, a few years ago it was noticed that she was liking transphobic tweets on Twitter from TERFs, If you don't know what TERF means, no, it is not a slur. It is not a misogynistic slur, as TERFs would have you believe, but it actually just stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminists. These kind of feminists are basically feminists that just reduce women to their genitals and just sort of like believe you must be born with a vagina to be a woman. They often see transgender women who do experience misogyny. Like, I hate the idea that they don't experience misogyny. They totally do, and actually a kind of worse kind, because they're sort of like almost gaslit by transphobes, by sort of like people sort of like say, oh, they're men, but then treat them with the disrespect that women experience, but with a whole lot more bullshit. And they sort of like see trans women as evil, predatory men trying to invade women's spaces, and then they see trans men as poor, lost, confused lesbian sisters. Like, these women seem to assume everybody fancies them, because they always like see sort of like trans women as evil, predatory, straight men trying to get access to them, and then see trans men as poor, lost lesbian sisters, when I've met quite a few trans men who are actually gay or bisexual and like men, and some even that are not into women. Anyway, sorry, I keep going off on tangents. So basically, they're also sort of bioessentialist, and JK Rowling was liking tweets from these kinds of feminists, and so some people on Facebook, such as Jessica R. Durling, who is a trans woman who I follow on Facebook, and she just posts lots of cool stuff and lots of feminist activist stuff, and she's quite awesome. I'm pretty sure she's Canadian, and she sort of screenshotted what JK Rowling had shared, and then later it was starting to be shown that JK Rowling not only was liking, like, firstly, sorry I forgot to mention, I'm pretty sure it was her publicist or something was saying that she didn't like the tweets deliberately, and it was a middle-age moment. Like, that's just such an excuse. Like, you don't accidentally like a transphobic tweet, like you might do once or twice, like what I'm going to get onto when she started sharing transphobic tweets, and then the actor Mark Hamill accidentally liked it because he misunderstood it, as well as BB Newworth, and they both actually apologised and said, we're really sorry, we didn't realise this was transphobic, we're not transphobic, and I was really pleased with them for that. But she was doing it over and over again and was not issuing any apologies or anything, and that just seemed really suspicious. And so later, not only was she liking these tweets, but she was actually sharing transphobic stuff. I can't remember like stuff straight away, but there's loads of evidence for it online. Just put into Google JK Rowling transphobic tweets and you will find, sorry I can't speak today, just put into Google JK Rowling transphobic tweets and you'll find loads of evidence for this. And so recently she's really been being called out for it, to the point where Daniel Radcliffe, the actor who played Harry Potter in the movies, actually spoke out against her and defended trans people, and that was really cool of him. Good for him. And recently this has all kind of like come out again, because JK Rowling has been writing another book where the main villain is a serial killer who is a cisgender man, so assigned male at birth, and a man who dresses as a woman and goes around killing cis women. And although it's not actually about a trans woman, and I really don't want to conflate cis men with trans women, because let's get one thing straight, they are not the same thing at all. Trans women are women, not men. Like, repeat again, trans women are women. Anyway, sorry, I keep going off on tangents. And basically, like, this just gives a really bad message, because in society a lot of people don't like to differentiate between men dressing as women and transgender women. So like there's all these bathroom laws that don't want trans women to get to wee and poo in women's restrooms, because then evil cis men could take advantage of it and pretend to be trans in order to get in and assault women, but that's not really been happening. And also there's sort of like other movies where this has happened, with sort of like either a trans woman being a murderer and going after cis women, or sort of a man in a dress going around and killing women, because sort of like, apparently I remember my friend told me there was a story in Criminal Minds about that, and in the end all the women attacked him and were like, oh, we're gonna let you see what it's like to be a real woman. Yeah, I remember my friend complaining to me about that. And also sort of like in The Silence of the Lambs with Buffalo Bill and his woman suit, and of course very iconic, the film Psycho, Alfred Hitchcock's famous movie Psycho, with the character Norman Bates, who's dressing as a woman, dressing as his mother, and going and killing women such as Marion Crane. And also, if anybody has heard of the serial killer Ed Gein, he killed lots of women, and it was often speculated in the press that like he was a trans woman, he was a closeted trans woman and wanted to transition, and so wanted to get women's parts, but apparently there's no real evidence for this. So sorry, that rather rambly sort of like history of these incredibly trans-misogynistic tropes in the media is sort of contextualising why a lot of people are mad at JK Rowling at the moment. And just the worst thing about it is she just refuses to apologise for anything. Like, she just carries on doing all this stuff and she's not apologising at all. Like, it would be good if she apologised and stopped doing this, so please stop doing this. Really sorry this video has been really rambly today. I just can't seem to be able to speak today, but I wanted to get a video out. So they're just my musings on the subject. So if you're new to this channel, please subscribe, please like this video and leave your comments, but don't leave me any hate. Yeah, don't leave me any. And also check out my intro song, Iridescent. Please get that on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Bandcamp, etc. And also I'll be putting my PayPal link in the comments, so if you want to just send me a bit of money just as a kind of tip jar thing, feel free to. And I'll see you on Sunday. I will finally be doing another storytime video then. Really sorry, two important things, the cuties thing and this were just two things that I wanted to comment about on my channel, and so I will do the story time that I promised on Sunday unless something else big comes up. So see you then, bye!